Hello, you kick off the Thursday's edition of Qpvn Election News Bulletin with Milinchi and come headlines. Party Central Committee's 13th meeting was up. Vietnam Coast Guard assists Filipino people after natural disaster. Hanoi Convention, a diplomatic milestone. On the morning of October the 8th in Hanoi, the 13th plenum of the 13th Party Central Committee concluded after completing its entire agenda. Party General Secretary To Lam delivered a closing speech. In his closing remarks, Party General Secretary To Lam affirmed that the 13th plenum of the 13th Party Central Committee had successfully completed all its planned agenda items. Its issues were thoroughly prepared, carefully discussed, and approved with high consensus, many of which are key matters directly linked to the success of the 14th National Party Congress, the goal of rapid and sustainable development, and the improvement of people's living standards. He emphasized that this plenum featured candid, scientific discussions and reached strong unanimity on many important policies and decisions. Party General Secretary To Lam stated that through frank, democratic and responsible discussions, the Party Central Committee reached consensus on 9 major orientations to make meticulous preparations for the 14th National Party Congress to fully realize and even surpass the remaining targets set out in the resolution of the 13th National Party Congress, the 2025 Socio-Economic Development Task, and the 2021-2025 5-year plan. He also emphasized the need to actively prepare for the 10th session of the 15th National Assembly and thoroughly organize the elections of deputies to the 16th National Assembly and the People's Councils of levels for the 2026-2031 tenure. To refine the 2-tier local government model and streamline the 3-tier system, focusing on digitalization, simpler procedures, and stronger decentralization with clear accountability, measured by citizen and business satisfaction. The goal is to ensure every person and family is well cared for, both materially and spiritually. Immediately after the Party Central Committee 13th meeting, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính headed to Thái Nguyên province to inspect post-disaster recovery efforts and encourage disaster-prone residents. To ensure long-term protection for local communities, the Prime Minister decided the construction of flood control dikes on both sides of the Go River in Thái Nguyên province. General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, and leaders of several militaries and central agencies joined the mission. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and General Phan Văn Giang inspected severely affected areas and met with the residents in the flood-hit areas. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính expressed sympathy for the hardships and losses faced by the locals, while commending the armed forces for their tireless rescue efforts amid the storm-on-storm, flood-up-on-flood situation. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính urged authorities to accelerate disaster recovery, ensure safety and stability in people's daily lives and production, and make every effort to reach isolated areas so that no one is left hungry or stranded. In the long run, he emphasized the need to upgrade and complete the local disaster prevention infrastructure. He designated Thái Nguyên province to the construction of 2 flood control dikes, each 17 kilometers long, along both sides of the Go River. This must be done under an emergency status and completed by June 2026. We have to move fast, boldly, decisively, and without any hesitation. That's like the spirit of building Phong Châu Bridge last year. Meanwhile, General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, asked military Region 1 forces to closely coordinate with local authorities in assisting local residents in the aftermath of the disaster. As the water recedes, military troops play an important role in cleaning up the environment to prevent disease outbreaks. Special attention should be given to lonely elderly people and families who have lost own properties. The military troops can provide blankets and clothing. I commanded the General Department of Logistics and Techniques to produce civilian clothes. The government has decided to allocate approximately $5.5 million in emergency relief to provinces impacted by the recent storms and floods, with Thái Nguyên receiving over $1 million. The Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense also provide approximately $109,000 to help local military troops and civilians overcome difficulties and soon stabilize their lives. These days, Reup province in the Philippines has been suffering severe consequences from a natural disaster. During this difficult time, the crew of the Vietnam Coast Guard ship 002, which is on a visit and exchange program with the Philippine Coast Guard, promptly joined hands to support local people in overcoming the aftermath of the disaster. A nation struggling against natural disasters. On September the 20th, Typhoon Boloy swept away thousands of houses, causing more than 1.7 billion pesos in damage. Just 2 days later, Reup province was shaken by a 6.9 magnitude earthquake, leaving 69 dead and over 150 injured. Sadly sharing Cebu's hardship, the Vietnam Coast Guard brought a spirit of solidarity, modest but full compassion. Driven by humanitarian spirit and international solidarity, the crew of Vietnam Coast Guard ship 002 shared part of the food supplies and provided medical support to help people in Cebu affected by the earthquake. Overcoming rough roads, the Vietnam Coast Guard delegation delivered essential goods and food to support local residents affected by the disaster, helping them soon stabilize their lives. I truly appreciate the support from the Vietnam Coast Guard, especially the humanitarian assistance. The relief supplies will be delivered to people in the Philippines affected by the earthquake. We are grateful for the support from Vietnam to the northern area of Cebu City. As part of the program, the Vietnam Coast Guard, in coordination with the Philippine Coast Guard, organized medical checkups and health consultations for local residents. I'm very grateful to your country for supporting the Philippines, for coming to provide medical checkups, medicines, and vitamins for us. This humanitarian relief effort left a deep impression on the people of Cebu, where the spirit of solidarity and compassion transcends language and borders. At the earthquake-affected area, I can truly feel the sense of responsibility and compassion of the soldiers of the Vietnam People's Army. Amid the ruins, they bring sharing. Amid the losses, they inspire hope. Through the challenges of natural disaster, the solidarity between Vietnam and the Philippines grows ever stronger, all for the happiness and peace of the people. The Vietnam-Singapore Young Officers Dialogue was held on the afternoon of October the 8th in Hanoi. Details are in the following news. The Vietnam-Singapore Young Officers Dialogue took place on the afternoon of October the 8th in Hanoi. Officers from both sides shared experience in training, education, and defense activities. The dialogue enhanced awareness and responsibility among young officers, reinforcing their key role in communications, education, and bilateral defense ties. Both sides agreed to continue promoting education on the history and significance of Vietnam-Singapore cooperation. In Hanoi, the Military Medical University of Vietnam hosted a delegation from the Royal Cambodia Armed Forces Military Medical Academy. Currently, over 200 Cambodian students are studying Vietnamese and professional programs at the university. Both sides agreed to strengthen cooperation in training military medical personnel at undergraduate, postgraduate, and short-term levels. Coming up next, Hanoi Convention, a diplomatic milestone. Promoting women's role in leadership. At an international press conference on October the 8th in Hanoi, Deputy Foreign Minister Đặng Hoàng Giang announced that the opening ceremony for the signing of the United Nations Convention on Countering Cybercrime will be held on October the 25th to 26th in Hanoi. Naming this global legal instrument, the Hanoi Convention marks a historic milestone, affirming Vietnam's leadership and commitment to building a multilateral legal framework for safer cyberspace. The event will bring together delegates from over 100 countries and international organizations, featuring high-level discussions, roundtables, and a technology exhibition co-organized by Vietnam and the U.S. Secretariat. President Lương Cường and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will deliver keynote speeches at the opening session. On October the 8th, the embassies of Canada, New Zealand, Norway, and Switzerland in Hanoi, G4 Group, in collaboration with the Vietnam Women's Museum, organized the seminar Women in Leadership Breaking Barriers at the Vietnam Women's Museum in celebration of the Vietnamese Women's Day, October the 20th. The event aimed to raise awareness of gender equality and foster dialogue on strategies to increase women's participation in leadership. In her opening remarks, Norwegian Ambassador Hildur Smøken emphasized that gender equality is not only a goal, but also a foundation for peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. The event demonstrated the strength of collaboration and shared commitment to empowering women to lead, innovate, and inspire. Delegates heard from G4 countries about measures taken to support women and girls in seizing new opportunities. With the theme Breaking Barriers, this seminar encouraged women to realize their potential, overcome social stereotypes, and pursue their passions. On the morning of October the 8th in Hanoi, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, for short, held a midterm press conference for the fiscal year 2025 to brief on a number of projects completed in the first half of the year and orientation for the second half. Sharing at the press conference, Chief Representative of the JICA Vietnam office, Kobayashi Kusuke, noted that with the support of JICA, a number of cooperation projects between Vietnam and Japan have been effectively implemented, such as the technology transfer and construction of Sapo Dam in April 2025 to mitigate damages caused by landslides in the northern mountainous region, the construction and operation of Insa wastewater treatment plant in August 2025, one of the largest wastewater treatment plants in Southeast Asia, to mitigate serious flooding after heavy rains in Hanoi, along with other infrastructure construction projects to help improve people's lives and projects on high-quality human resource training and climate change adaptation. Looking ahead, JICA will place a high emphasis on the 4 pillars of reform that Vietnam is pursuing to achieve high-income status by 2045. We will focus on enhancing collaboration that aligns with the needs of Vietnam and place a high emphasis on the 4 pillars of reform, including promotion of science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation, especially semiconductor and AI, advancement of international integration, lawmaking and law enforcement, and private sector development. JICA will also continue supporting the building of airports, ports, roads, bridges, railways, and customs system of Vietnam, thereby contributing to the enhancement of multi-layered connectivity between Vietnam and other countries, including Japan. JICA will also continue accompanying the collaboration between the Vietnam Coast Guard and the Japan Coast Guard forces in the field of maritime security maintenance and law enforcement at sea. More training courses to enhance experience and improve the capacity for the Vietnamese Coast Guard will be organized in the coming term. The Chief Representative of JICA Vietnam office emphasized that on the basis of the long-term cooperative relationship between the two countries, JICA prioritized cooperation with Japanese stakeholders to leveraging Japan's technology, knowledge, and experience to support Vietnam in achieving sustainable and inclusive development goals. Nestled by Tranquil River in Hoi An Dong Ward, Da Nang City, Cam Thanh Village has been listed among the top 50 most beautiful villages in the world 2025 by the prestigious Forbes magazine. Once a quiet fishing community, Cam Thanh is now gaining global recognition as the sustainable eco-cultural destination that embodies Vietnam's traditional charm. Beyond its historical significance, the village boasts a unique mangrove ecosystem, rich biodiversity and stunning scenery. In 2009, UNESCO recognized the Gem Islands Hội An Biosphere Reserve, which includes Cẩm Thành mangrove forest at the lower Thu Bồn River. The village's famous basketball tours through coconut groves were also ranked among the world's top 25 most fascinating boat experiences. Cẩm Thành global recognition is a great source of pride for local residents and further highlights Da Nang's growing reputation as a premier tourism destination on the world map. It is the end of the Little News Bulletin today. You can watch the news again at qpvn.vn. Goodbye, until next time.